The date is set. March 7th, 2025. 8:30 in Vancouver. The University of Calgary Dinos at 14-4 take on the UBC Thunderbirds, who sit at 13-5. For the Dinos, it's an opportunity to win their 8th Canada West Championship. But before we can talk about number 8, we have to go back and talk about number 7. The last time the Calgary Dinos won a Canada West Championship was in 2018-19, led by Brett Layton. This University of Calgary Dinos team put an exclamation point on their season that was 20-0, winning their third of 4 Canada West Championships.
With the rebound, and that's going to do it. For the third time in 4 years, University of Calgary Dinos are Canada West men's basketball champions.
But now we pop back into our DeLorean and we fast forward to 2025. A team that has 2 All-Stars with Nate Petrone as a first-team All-Star, Noah Wharton as a third-team All-Star, and looking to capture one more championship after all these years under the legendary coach Dan Van Horn, who set a record for the most wins as a Dinos coach with 300. And those wins keep on going up. I got a chance to talk to the Dinos and their coaches about the championship game this week. The first player I got an opportunity to talk to was Beckett Johnson, who comes from BC, and his family came out in Victoria last week and got an opportunity to see him play the most minutes and some of the most effective basketball he had played all season, as he played 25 minutes. The most minutes that he played before that was 15 on January 31st against Brandon. The one message that Beckett had for me: always stay ready.
All right, I'm here with Beckett Johnson. Beckett, how's it going?
I'm great. How are you?
So, for the playoffs, you played the most minutes, was 11 minutes at the start of the season, and then you come into the playoffs and then play 25 minutes. Your defense, a big reason for it. Obviously, you're going to say you always stay ready, but how did it feel to come in and have those many minutes right at the bat in the playoffs?
Oh, it was tiring. Most real minutes I've ever played was 2, so just getting adjusted out there was hard, but once I got comfortable out there, it was awesome to be out there with the guys, and I think what made me successful was my teammates, just being out there and supporting me, like Nate, Noah, and Lutz, always cheering me on and just telling me if I'm doing something wrong or do something right, so yeah.
Obviously the defense was a big reason why you were in. Take a lot of pride, obviously, in the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I always try to work hard as I can on the defensive side. I feel like I'm a bit smaller, so I got to work harder out there to make the plays, and I feel like where I can do that the most is on the defensive end, so yeah.
For you, obviously, too, you look to next season as well. Noah's leaving the team. Do you kind of look at these minutes and be like, okay, well, I'm trying to find my way maybe to find that starting backcourt position as well, or you're obviously just focused on the finals?
I'm focused on the finals, just winning this season. Super excited for the opportunities I can get next year, and just keep building on the minutes I'm getting. Yeah.
What are you looking forward to about facing UBC in Vancouver?
I think the atmosphere.
Yeah.
I know it's going to be a sold-out crowd, so just excited to play there. My family's going to be there, so it's going to be awesome.
The next player I got an opportunity to talk to was senior Dylan Lutz. Dylan has been a veteran of the Canada West, and come this championship game, will be playing his final game as a Canada West athlete. He split time between the Mount Royal Cougars and, of course, the University of Calgary Dinos, and is hoping that he can end his Canada West career with a championship.
Dylan Lutz. Dylan, maybe the last time I get a chance to interview you here, but obviously the big upset, quote unquote. How did you guys? The one thing I really loved is the Obsessed Sports post had upset, and you guys all shared that one. Other than the University of Calgary one, did you take the upset side a little personally?
I think so. I think the draw was a bit weird with us going to UVic, and at first we were upset, and then we kind of just realized, like, hey, who cares? Like, we can beat them too. So, I mean, I don't think many people expected it. I think a lot of people were cheering for us, but yeah, I'd say it was an upset. And I mean, on paper, for sure, they're undefeated and whatnot. Yeah. But we felt like we could beat them, and we prepared hard and got the job done.
What was the atmosphere like in U of Vic?
It was awesome. The crowd was great. It was super fun. We had a lot of fans ourselves. My parents came out, Nate's parents came out, Beckett had a bunch of family, and they were pretty rowdy too. So yeah, it was awesome.
What are you guys looking forward now to this UBC game, going back on the road again? Nationals look like that's almost a lock, but obviously want to get that championship side of things done first.
Yeah, we're not really thinking about Nationals right now. It's mostly about Friday. UBC also has a great crowd, great atmosphere. Their football team usually comes out and gets into it. We love it. I hope they come out. I hope they talk to us all game. And, it's fun trying to quiet the crowd down. Like, once that UVic crowd shut down and people started walking out of the building, that was the greatest feeling.
So no matter what, it's going to be your last Canada West basketball game before you guys do move on to Nationals. Are you going to try to take anything in? And is this your first finals as well?
First finals, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be the last Canada West game for me. Honestly, I'm just enjoying every second. Basketball is so fun right now. I've been working for this for so long. This team, we kind of blew it last year. I think we should have been here last year too. And that sour taste was still in our mouth. And the fact that we got it done this year is just that much better.
And obviously, as we talked about on your senior night, obviously going out with your really close friend, Nate Patron, as well.
Yeah, it's special, man. I don't think it's really hit me yet how many games me and him have played together, and we're playing for a gold medal on Friday. And yeah, it's pretty sweet. There'll be some emotions for sure.
Dylan's play and leadership is definitely going to be missed at the Jack Simpson and for this Dinos club. But there's a lot of young talent on this team, like Declan Peterson, who is in his first Canada West playoffs and has playoff experience with prior times with the ACAC. Dylan talks about the different playoff experiences he's had playing in the ACAC and now in Canada West.
All right, I'm here with the block assassin, the rebound man himself, Declan Peterson. Declan,
yes, sir.
From ACAC last year,
sir.
losing to SAIT to not make the playoffs, to now having a chance to win a championship. It's been a roller coaster over this past year for you. How you feeling?
I feel good because it comes back to also my first year in ACAC. We made it to the semifinals and we lost by 3 points. So losing that opportunity to go to the finals and now having the opportunity, it just feels amazing. Just so excited.
And speaking about that, you have some interesting atmospheres. It was in the Ambrose gym,
yes,
which is a little bit tighter atmosphere. Last week, Vic was good, and now UBC. Everyone's saying that atmosphere is going to be good.
Oh, yeah.
What do you do with those big away atmospheres, and how do you play under those?
I just love it because a lot of people are there trying to want the home team to win, but we're going in there with the underdogs. We have dogs on our team. We're going in there underdogs mentality. But just playing in there, just thinking it's a beautiful opportunity. Most guys don't have this opportunity to go play for a championship in that type of crowd. So it's just going to be fun to try playing.
Obviously, when we talked to you during one of your player of the game, many of the mini ones, we were talking about you early in the season. You were getting a little bit of foul trouble, but now you found a much better way to get those blocks and everything like that. What has changed for you to kind of stay out of that foul trouble and get the blocks and the domination in the paint you've been able to?
Kind of just better positioning. Kind of just better positioning. I watched a lot. I was late some of the times in the early season, so then that would cause me to swing a little bit more and then cause me to get the fouls. So being in the right positioning right away and just not swinging as much because I swung a lot, caused a lot of fouls. Now I'm staying a lot taller and straighter up.
Kind of talk about your first season in Canada West opposed to playing in the ACAC and the differences you've had or the similarities you've had.
It was a lot faster pace right away. Coming from ACAC where it's a little bit slower, it was a lot faster of a pace. Physicality was up too, but I've been playing against a lot bigger dudes my whole career, like Spencer, my mentor back home. He's 6'9", he played pro a little bit. Just playing against the more physical dudes, I noticed I played a lot better at this higher level than I did in ACAC against the smaller bigs.
Declan continues to impress in his freshman season in Canada West, obviously, as we talked about, experience in the ACAC. Well, speaking about always impressing, part of the best backcourt in Canada West, a first-team All-Star and leading scorer in Canada West with 24.1, I got a chance to talk to number one, Nate Patron.
Here we are with Nate Patron. Before we start, Super Bowl fan champion. Last time we talked to you, your Eagles end up pulling out the W.
Yeah, I mean, I think I said I had them 34.5-point favorites, and they almost hit that.
Yeah.
We let off the gas a little bit, but that was pure domination.
So now you're kind of, okay, my football team's won, and now you're focusing on getting a championship of your own now.
Yeah, I'm trying to complete a year of championships, and this one's super exciting. I can't wait to go to battle in the War Memorial.
Obviously, I've asked a few people about this, but I did notice with the team, you guys particularly shared the Obsessed Sports upset post other than the University of Calgary win. Did you guys take that upset thing a little bit personally?
No, I mean, I feel like most people thought it would be an upset, but honestly, going into the game, the more we watched film, the more we practiced, we were so confident going into that game. I mean, the right level of confidence, but it didn't feel like it was that shocking to us. Like, once we won, a couple of us said, like, it actually didn't feel as good as I thought it would because we were just kind of expecting it the whole time. So,
well, kind of, obviously you go to put it on the board right now. I don't think I've had any video more successful, more comments right now than the interview you did with Cami Kepke after saying job's not finished.
Yeah.
And that kind of still reigns true here. One game left and still obviously having that mentality.
yeah, the mentality hasn't changed. We know that, beating Vic wasn't the end of the season. We're focused on this one game, and then we'll focus on the next game after that.
Talk about the backcourt. You and Noah exploded in that one. Obviously, he gets third team honors. You get first team honors. We'll wait for individual awards coming out here. But I don't know if there was a shadow of doubt in that game. You guys showed the potential. You might not just be the best backcourt in Canada West, but in Canada as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, for me, there's no doubt. I don't think there's really many other contenders in my mind. I feel like we've solidified ourselves as the best backcourt. And to be honest, I think he got robbed as a third team mention. I think that he deserved at least second team with what he does on the defensive end. And yeah, no, I mean, the championships are better than those first, second, third teams. So that's what we're looking for.
The end of the season, in the regular season, to end the best, well, at home at least, and end the best way for you guys with that loss to Lethbridge. Was that one of those losses that had added a little bit of fire to you guys? You always talk about good losses, bad losses. You never won a loss. Do you think that was one of those situations where, like, okay, now we got to smarten up and get our act together?
No, definitely. It's a weird thing to say, but I think it was a great thing that happened to us. It almost felt like a playoff loss, and going into it, a few of us got together, and it's like, all right, we're not going to feel that down the road. We can't feel that. So I feel like, I'm a big proponent of saying, like, everything happens for a reason, and I do believe that happened for a reason.
Well, and obviously everything does happen for a reason. You get drafted in the CBL last year. Things didn't go the way you thought in the league. Still get drafted, still have that accolade. Had a great summer with the showcase in the Filipino All-Star game. And ever since then, individually, obviously it's team first, but individually, you've really been on a path to show that you're the best player in Canada.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like since high school, I've had to prove people wrong, and that'll never stop. And even, whatever accolades might come after this year, I'll still have to prove people wrong. So the mentality, again, will never change.
And thoughts about going into UBC?
Going into UBC, like I said last time, we're preparing in practice, ready to go to war in the War Memorial.
Nate, much like Dylan, also played at MRU, so he's had the highs and the lows of being in the Canada West, and now is one game away from hitting the ultimate high. And speaking about highs and lows, I got a chance to talk to Gershon Saran about a high and low season for him. Obviously a game away from being a champion, but an injury took him out and hit a big part of his season. But now he's healthy and ready to go and compete for the championship.
It has been a tough second half of the season for you.
Yeah.
Kind of talk about the injury and what's been happening there for the second half of the season here.
Yeah, obviously, unfortunately, I got injured right after Christmas break, so it was a big hit to me. I expected to play a lot this year, coming off a good rookie year, but that's what happens, you get setbacks, and you just got to come back from them, right? Luckily, I was supposed to be out for the season, and I rehabbed my way back, so I'm just happy to be back on the court.
Talking to maybe Aiden Smith, who had a big injury, was that someone you went to that had a bigger injury and kind of rehab through as well?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, he went through a bigger injury than I did with his knee, and just being roommates with him, and then he's just been positive. He just told me you'll be all right. It's just another injury. He's just being a good teammate.
Obviously, being a former player myself, I know how hard it is when you get out there the first time and you're so scared to reoccur the injury and stretch out. What did it feel like getting? Obviously, you can do practices and everything like that, but what did it feel like to get back in the court, especially in a playoff game, to kind of have that motion and kind of start feeling good again?
100%. It was scary. It came out pretty easy against Winnipeg in my shoulder. So yeah, it was something you think about every single time down the court. If you notice on my free throw, when I line up on my free throws, I'll never bump right shoulder. I'll always go left shoulder. So I just,
you try to watch out for it, but you can't really do that. Having like a shoulder injury, you just gotta play. You just gotta hope it stays good. You rehab, you do everything you can. You don't want to be. That's not an injury you want to be thinking about when you're playing. So yeah.
Was there anything that, particularly with your shooting or anything like that, you had to change a little bit?
100%. This makes it very difficult to shoot the basketball. So when I put this on for the first time, my mindset was to change my play style in a sense, like play more of a just get to the basket, pass the ball a lot more rather than shoot it. Just because this brace, it really prohibits my mobility on my shot, which makes it a lot more difficult.
So going into UBC now, how pumped are you? Obviously, you were saying you had a season-ending injury,
Yeah.
played in the semifinals, get the win over Vic, and now have an opportunity to win not a national championship, a Canada West championship. How are you feeling?
I feel phenomenal. I fully grasp how hard it is to make this basketball game, to make the Canada West final. We have guys that have been on this team for 5-6 years and haven't played in it, right? And this is my second year, and I get the opportunity to play in the finals in my hometown, right?
Wow, yeah.
So it's great. Now I get to play the Canada West final in front of my family, friends, cousins, all that. Like, it is not going over my head.
How much family you got coming out?
I was telling my coach, I got 4 bloodlines.
Amazing.
I'm trying to get as many people as we can.
I love it. Well, I'll be rooting for you from afar. Best of luck and stay healthy.
Obviously, a team can only go as far as its coaching, and this team has fantastic coaches, both in the assistant level and the head coach level. We start with the man that set a record for being the most winningest coach in Calgary Dinos history earlier this year, talking to Dan Van Horn.
All right, we're here with Dan Van Horn. Dan, going to another final. It's been a little bit, but obviously happy to be back in the Canada West Championship, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, for sure. I think getting back to the final in Canada West is a big deal. There's some very good basketball clubs in Canada West, and for us to get by Vic and to make it as far as we have this year, given everything, I think is tremendous accomplishment for the guys.
Speaking about Vic, obviously didn't beat them in the Canada Cup. They didn't have they had Diego Moff at that time. Obviously he goes out, but you guys put on, I think, a statement win in that one, specifically led by the defense. And I think a big thing that we noticed was Beckett Johnson getting a lot of minutes. What went into Beckett getting those heavy of minutes? Because before that, he only played 11 minutes and then 25 minutes in that game.
Well, the truth is, at the beginning of the year, when we played Vic, we threw Beckett out there against Diego. And we thought that he might be a good matchup for Diego. And from that point on, we didn't play him too much, but he works hard and he's been doing everything in Rich's workouts and he's playing hard at practice. And, we thought maybe he might be a really good matchup defensively for Robinson. So when Robinson came off the bench, we threw Beckett in there to give him a shot, and he did so well. We just kept him going. The truth is, he just played well enough to get those minutes.
Well, and defense obviously was a big reason you guys led it. I'm assuming that's part of the game plan going against Vic. Obviously, you're not going to give away your game plan on here, but I'm sure a lot of similarities of what you had against Vic, bringing that into UBC as well.
Well, I think we have to play with that effort.
Yep.
Our guys were locked in mentally, and they followed the scout and did a really good job. So I think, it's going to come down to us defending and rebounding for sure against UBC. And they're such a strong athletic team that's long and deep. They rely heavily on rebounding and on scores in the paint. So we're going to have to do a really good job of managing our paint and rebounding the ball.
Talking about the atmosphere there, obviously you're going to be on the way, but you guys have a lot of guys from BC in this game. So you're going to have a little bit of a home advantage with a lot of those BC players.
Well, we'll have some people cheering for us.
Yeah.
We have some alumni out there as well, as Surinder and Alman, and some guys that played for our program from BC. And then obviously with Beckett and Gershon, we have some kids from out there. So it'll be really exciting for them to play in front of some of their own fans.
Obviously, every single championship means a lot. Where does this one rank right now, or where does this team rank as far as, the amount of seasons you guys have had? You obviously broke the Dinos record this year for most wins. Obviously, the championship is all you really care about. I know that other accolade is cool, but the championship's the one you mean. But where does this season so far stand with the other ones?
Well, in truth, I think it's been an effort. So I credit the guys for where we're at. We've had some injuries and some things that we've had to get through as a group, and and they seem to be ironing those out. And the more we can smoothen out those bumps, then hopefully our warts won't show when it matters here, and we can stay focused one moment at a time. The rest of the accolades are all at the end. Outcomes are what they are. So we've got to stay in our process, and hopefully that'll bring us through.
And as I mentioned, every good coach needs good assistants, and the Dinos have that, and Dan Van Horn has that with Kyle Landry.
Here with Kyle Landry. Kyle, going into a big championship game this week, how are you feeling?
Good. Really excited. It's the first championship game for me as a coach, and really excited to be a part of it.
What are the practices? What are the vibes been like this week after the big win over Victoria?
Pretty good. Our guys were really locked in yesterday when we just kind of did scout and everything to prepare for the game, and I think our guys are still a little fatigued from the amount of effort they put out there on last Friday, but I think we're ready to go.
I'm going to ask Dan the same thing, but what have you thought about this season, being the assistant coach? You've obviously had a fantastic season, going to, be with the Surge and seeing 2 close championship runs, and now having this one be right in the precipice. How can you kind of equal those 2 Surge runs being so quick and so close to winning a championship to now being right here? Have you kind of mentored and kind of preached what it means to be in a championship, being there already with the Surge?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I tend to lean more on my experiences as a player on those situations.
Yeah.
Just with the Surge, unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it because of my commitments here. So, but it's been a lot of fun. Our guys are really locked in, and it's just it's been a fun year of growth and development. I mean, we had our opportunities last year, and ended up losing the semifinals, and this year we made the push and got over that hump. So it's been steady growth, which is exciting to see.
What's the biggest difference you've seen as a player to coach in this playoff run?
I think our team's just defensive intensity has been great. We've had slow starts for both games, but after that we managed to pick it up and really ramp it up. And our guys, I mean, to be able to hold Vic to 68 points like we did this past game is quite the accomplishment. And our guys were outstanding, executing our scout and just playing with effort.
Obviously, a lot of the headlines went to Noah and to Nate in the backcourt there, and obviously getting into people saying Canada's best backcourt. What has it been for you as a coach getting to see them as the backcourt here?
Oh, it's outstanding. They're great players. Noah did a great job last year over the summer working with the Surge, and Nate just kept, he was with the Stingers a little bit in camp, and then just kind of worked on his own over the summer and just kind of continued to build his game. And there's been a lot of growth from those guys, and they definitely have pro potential after they leave college here when they do, and it's been exciting to see how they've gone their trajectory over the last couple of years.
So there you have it. Some thoughts from the players, some thoughts from the coaches, and now a thought from their broadcaster, me, Joshua Adam Lamb, Arbuthnot. It has been a pleasure to watch this men's team, but they are going against a formidable UBC team that beat a very good Manitoba Bisons team that did beat the Calgary Dinos earlier this season. Calgary's path obviously beating the Trinity Western Spartans and then beating Victoria to get to this spot. It will no doubt be a fantastic game. Tremendous players on both sides. I can't wait to check it out, and I appreciate everyone out for checking out this podcast, this video. And until then, folks, cheers, and enjoy the day, people.